What's up, fight fans? It's your favorite host, Ari Weiss, and today we'll be discussing UFC Fight Night, Usman Buckley that went down Saturday night in Atlanta. Then we'll also preview UFC Fight Night, Hill vs. Rountree Jr. that takes place next weekend in Azerbaijan, baby. In standard savvy fashion, we'll go through the card, analyze all the big fights, and drop our official world-famous MMA Savvy fight picks. So with that, let's go straight to the card and get rolling. What a fight. What a card. Usman versus Buckley in Atlanta. God, I love when it's not the fucking Apex. I won't go on the Apex tirade here today, but this was in Atlanta. A nice, loud, raucous crowd. I love that. People showed up, supported the sport that we all love. And this was a great fight, and it ended up being better than I thought. And it gave me those feelings, and Richie Boy texted me the feelings of Volkanovski. Usman somehow did it for the old guard, baby, one last time, and I couldn't be more pumped up, which is funny because I never was an Usman guy back in the day, but people, through their career have different ways to get to Wally's heart, and I think I'm kind of becoming an Usman guy now after all these years. All right, so let's unpack this now. One quick prelim we got to touch base on is my boy, Malcolm Wellmaker. Okay, Richie Boy, with your nonsense about no stars. Here's a star in the making. I believe he's 10-0 now. 2 straight unbelievable wins. He knocked out Simon, Nico's boy, that South African guy, and then Moitino, who has got a great chin. I mean, it took O'Malley 3 rounds to get this guy out of there. And boom, Wellmaker looks like he has the goods. He could be a future star. Here's my concern. I don't know about his grappling. I don't know if he's got great wrestling, takedown defense. Right, so that's what I got to see before I really get on this Wellmaker train. But what I've seen so far is fantastic. Yes, we get a little bit enamored by the big dazzling knockouts, though, so I'm hesitant here. But he could be someone scary in the bantamweight division. I mean, at least he should get, close to a top 15 fight maybe in his next outing, and then we'll see. Okay. First fight, main card, Menifield versus C. God, I actually love that this occurred too. We all know that C was a -700 favorite, and Richie Boy and Wally got swayed by Vegas, and we took C. Nico had the balls, he had the cojones to take Menifield. Number 15 in the world, great heavy hands. I've always liked Menifield. And now he gets a huge win. So interesting enough, he just never really showed up, man. It was like, where was this scary, undefeated Frenchman that we were all talking about? Menifield gets round 1. He has better strikes. Then C finally tries to implement his grappling, and at least he holds him up against the cage. It wasn't that impressive, but he controlled him. He imposed his will. He was sort of the bigger framed guy out there. And then Menifield just jabs his way to victory in the 3rd round. C, again, doesn't go for grappling. He barely strikes. I don't know if he got shell-shocked, if he got really tired, if the lights, the magic, the crowd was just too much for him. He just sort of folded. I was like, what happened here? He didn't even really go for anything. A bit surprising, a bit disappointing, especially when he was that much of a favorite. But at the same time, I love that Menifield did it because he's our guy. Number 15 in the world, keeps his ranking, and now he's got a couple wins in a row. He stays relevant. That was a big win for him. Oh, and this is big for Nico, baby. He finally gets a fight back on Wally to start the night. Then some madness ensues, obviously. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. This was supposed to be carnage. It was supposed to be a war. Interestingly enough, the first couple rounds, not that much happened. I think Abdul Malik barely squeaked them. And then you get in the 3rd round, and all of a sudden they start throwing, and it was a melee, and it was craziness. Wild hands going everywhere. Brundage was actually in the fight. Abdul Malik was probably getting the better of it, but barely. A couple exchanges occurred, and then the weird thing happened. Abdul Malik goes in for a knee that lands, but then as he comes back up from that, it was a huge headbutt clash. You could almost not see it right away in real time, and it just looked like the knee and a couple punches had landed and Brundage was out of there. Then they were like, wait, let's look at the replay, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And then you see the head clash. So because it was a head clash, which is an illegal strike, but it was unintentional, right? So then what they did, which I thought was fair, then you go to the judges' scorecards and then you see who was up in the fight up to that point, right? Because enough of the fight had gone, so it couldn't have just been a disqualification or a no contest or something like that, right? So Abdul Malik gets the unanimous after all that craziness, and he still deserved it, right? And it wasn't his fault that the heads clashed, but you also feel bad for Brundage when they're on that side of it because maybe he still could have been in the fight. Anyway, Abdul Malik 3 straight, someone to watch out for in the #1 division in the world middleweight. Okay, Garbrandt, Barcelos, big fight here. I love this fight. Barcelos, our boy, we picked him. Nico had the balls to take Garbrandt, right? You know, the ex-champ, he had kind of gone up and down since he's come back. Was he going to have enough tonight? And I thought, and so did Richie, that Barcelos would have a strong enough game where he's got the grappling, he's got the hands, he's more well-rounded. And the first round, he couldn't get the takedowns, and I think Garbrandt maybe squeaked it. But Barcelos, he kept going after it and just showed strength and heart and takedowns and great hands. And he slowly wore Garbrandt down. And I think he gets 2. I think he gets 3. And he does enough. And it was really a great war near the end. Hats off to Barcelos because now he's beaten Talbot and Garbrandt, both highly touted guys, one a new rising superstar and one an ex-champ. And so now he moves on. Maybe he's getting close to the top 15. You know, he's a little older, but he might be able to make waves and at least get in the top 15. And then Garbrandt on the other end, you're kind of like, all right, maybe this comeback, does it go as far as this? If he can't beat guys outside of the top 15, how does he ever get back to a title or in the top 10, the top 5? So, I mean, he's still, you know, he was game. He maybe gets another fight or so, but at this point is the Cody no love story over. Okay, Shabazian, Petrosky, big fight. Shabazian was the favorite. Nico had him. Rich and I had the balls to take Petrosky, and it didn't come through for us, baby. It was weird. It was like, where was he in this fight? He went for a takedown early, got stuffed in the first round, and then kind of never really aggressively kept going for them, which was a big mistake. And he let Shabazian outstrike him for 3 rounds. I mean, he tried to throw here or there, but he was much slower. He's not precise. He didn't have the accuracy like Shabazian. And Shabazian just looked great in there. He's getting better and better. He's now won 3 of his last 4 fights, and he was able just to pepper him. He was able to just pretty much dictate the entire fight. Very disappointing for Petrosky because he had won 3 straight. And then when you're down, why don't you go for broke and throw more and just keep grabbing singles? Go for something, change levels. And he kind of just like almost sort of just gave the fight away. It was also a bit odd. I'm like, what are you here for, man? I mean, I love the guy, but it was sort of like he just let the fight, you know, maybe he got tired. It's easy for us to say watching from the couch what's really going in the mind of the fighters, but it was sort of like, what's going on here? Are we trying to win this fight? It was kind of confusing. Shabazian, big win, though. I'm sure Petrosky will probably be back at some point, but the big story was Shabazian. Now, listen, he might be a guy that's now hovering outside of that top 15. I like Shabazian right now going forward. All right, but either way, Nico hits that. He gets another fight back on us, and it looked like Nico was about to have this monumental night. And then Namajunas, Maverick, co-main event. I wasn't that excited about this fight because remember in the pre-fight analysis, I was kind of saying, am I done with this Rose experiment at 125, right? And I wasn't that excited, but it was a 7 versus 11 in the world. And, you know, this ended up being a really good scrap. Rose takes round 1. It was close, but I think she outstruck her in round 1. And I was like, okay, Rose is looking better at 125, right? Maverick didn't get a takedown in the entirety of the round and kind of let Rose get round 1. Then round 2, Rose gets the takedown. She's on top. I'm like, oh my God, we're about to go up 2-0. And then she got a little sloppy, and near the end of the round, Maverick was able to kind of switch positions and flip her a little bit. And then she got her almost in an arm triangle. You were seconds away from a victory, Maverick. And of course, Richie Boy and Nico both had her, but Wally was smart enough to take Rose. She doesn't tap. She gets through the round, and then in round 3 has unbelievable hands. She drops Maverick, and it looks like Maverick even hurt her leg. She gets on top, finishes out the fight strong. Easy call, 29-28. Nico was trying to say otherwise. That's ridiculous. But Rose really impressed me here. And she almost like she listened to me, because Wally had just been like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this 125 experiment? And this fight, I think, proves she's here to stay. She solidifies her number 7 in the world ranking. The only people she lost to, Blanchfield and Farrow, are the best in the division. So she's still there. I don't know if she'll be able to be a champion, but great performance. And then Maverick, she'll be back. Rose just outclassed her. Okay, main event, amazing fight. This really brought MMA back for me, a lot like the Volkanovski fight. Usman hadn't won in 4 years. Number 5 in the world, Kamaru Usman at welterweight. Buckley, number 7 in the world, surging, rising star. Rich and I, last second, had the balls to take Usman, but I was very worried about this. Nico had Buckley. Most people had Buckley. He was the minus 278 favorite. I was very worried about this pick, but since I had such a big lead, I'm like, you know what? And I felt in the bottom of my heart, maybe Usman. He's still, he's 38. It's not like he's 44. He still has the wrestling, maybe one last win in him, a couple last wins, and he overperformed, man. I am so impressed with Usman right now. He weathers the storm. Buckley obviously had very dangerous hands. He gets a takedown halfway through the first round, and then boom, he holds him down. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought Buckley would be able to get up. I thought he'd be scrambling like Edwards in that second fight. Usman's able to hold him down the whole time. And even Cruz and Felder said, oh geez, if he can do this, he now knows he can do this every round. And boom, that was the story. Every round, halfway, a couple minutes in, halfway through the round, Usman would get another takedown. And then he wasn't just laying on him. He was getting pound and pound. He was controlling him. He looked unbelievable. He looked athletic. He looked strong. He looked powerful. He looked like 4 years younger, baby. And then finally, after 4 rounds of this, I do got to say, though, in round 4, when they're on the feet, Buckley is always dangerous on the feet. And Cruz even kept saying, man, this fight is not over, because as soon as Buckley stands, at least he's going for broke. I like that. I liked what Buckley did here. He gained a lot of respect from me, because even though he was losing and he was losing on the scorecards, every time they stood, he was going for it, unlike other fighters that we've talked about tonight. Then you get to the 5th round, and holy shit, I was shaking in my boots. I had Usman. We just needed to get through the round, and Buckley started throwing bombs, man. A couple of them were so close. If they had landed, they would have put Usman out. But Usman learned from that Edwards head kick. And it was so impressive to me, because it looked like, man, even though he's older, he's a little slower, he looked great in there. And the fight IQ was there just to make sure, don't get in a firefight. Don't get blasted by one of these punches. Don't have another, devastating last second loss. And boom, he pulled it off. He gets the decision, 49-46, unanimous. And what a great win. And he was emotional at the end, because I forgot he hadn't won in 4 years. He hadn't even really fought in 2. So he needed to get the monkey off his back, as he kept saying. Unbelievable performance. I'm so impressed with Usman. He looks like he's refreshed, like he's not even older, like he's ready for a major title run. And so speaking of that, he then calls out all the guys afterwards. He's going to get a big fight. I don't know about a title shot right away, right? Because you got to deal with Jack Della and Islam and Sean Brady and Ian Gary and Muhammad still all there. So I think Usman is going to have to get one of those guys. I think he still needs one more win in my eyes. And then he's right back there. If he can maybe go beat a Muhammad while the other guys are fighting, because there's rumors it's going to be Brady Gary while Islam fights JDM. And then don't forget that there's Rachmanov still there, but Richie Boy looked it up the other day. I think he's still recovering from the knee surgery. So there's crazy intrigue. But now this division's even better with Usman resetting himself, because even Nico and people before were thinking, okay, Usman's done, right? Wrong, baby. He's back. And this division might even now be teetering to the world's #1 most exciting division. Okay, you guys can see I'm jacked up. This really brought UFC back a little bit. I know it never left, but I say that all the time, but this just hyped me up a little bit more. Okay, before we move on to the show, let's just take one little commercial break. All right, and we're back to the show. All right, and we're going to go to next week. Look at this, baby. UFC Fight Night, Hill vs. Rountree in Azerbaijan, Baku, Crystal Hall. And look out for this, Nico and Rich. It's an early start time, so don't do some bullshit with your Saturday plans. 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, okay? So very excited about this. Really high level matchup at the light heavyweight division. Let's break this sucker down. One thing I'll say is 2 fight nights in a row out of the Apex. I'm pumped, and I love the international card. Let's keep growing the sport. I love the international fans. I love the crowds. It's going to be melee there because they don't get the fights like us. They're not spoiled like us, so when they do, they go nuts. All right, let's break this down. I'm going to rapid fire through this. We got Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grad, a featherweight fight. Naimov is the minus 225. Nico and Richie Boy both taking Grad, the Austrian, okay? And he's coming off a win, but so is Naimov. I got to hold the fort and take the favorite here. They're both going for the underdog, and I'm going to go against them, and I'm taking Naimov. You know, that's it. We're going to move on. Boom, first fight, Wally versus Rich and Nico. Then we up the stakes. I love this Sadikov-Mota fight. Nazim hasn't even lost since he's been in the UFC. He's got like 4 wins and 1 draw. Mota's coming off 2 straight wins. This is going to be a war at lightweight. I love both guys. I'm a little bit torn, but we're all being swayed by the minus 395 Sadikov. And it's in his backyard, baby. He's the hometown kid of Azerbaijan. All 3 savvy bros are taking Sadikov, okay? Then we got Oralbai. He's a great wrestler. He lost his last one, but it was really close. And the one before, I remember his wrestling is top-notch against Musayev, who is another hometown guy. We don't know that much about him. Oralbai, let's just check this out. Oralbai is a minus 170, and I'm familiar with him. He's got unbelievable grappling from Kyrgyzstan, another guy from this area of the world with the unbelievable wrestling. So we're all taking Oralbai because we're all a little bit unfamiliar with Musayev. Then you get to Blades Kuniev. Remember this fight we talked about a while ago, right? This is a big fight. Blades, number 5 in the world at heavyweight. He's a minus 265 favorite. Let's just see. Blades had beaten Almeida, right, from that come-from-behind victory, but then to lose to Aspinall, he got KO'd, but it was a little bit of a premature stoppage, I thought, even though he probably would have lost that fight. Either way, he's been sitting there a long time. Kuniev was the champ of Eagle FC Khabib's league. And then he came in and he's been taking the guys out on the Contender Series. So he's a scary Russian, but we just don't know him enough. I haven't seen him enough to trust him. So all the savvy faithful were all taking Blades, even though that's another scary one. I almost don't love that Blades is doing this because I'm like, bro, you're being so risky with your ranking. Like, what are you thinking here? Taking on this guy. He probably couldn't get another booking, and he needs to reset himself after that loss to Aspinall. You know, maybe this is a new highly touted guy. Okay, Fiziev, Bahamondes, co-main event. Fiziev, number 11 in the world. Nico's boy was the scariest striker in the division just about a year ago until those losses to Gaethje. Bahamondes, new rising young kid superstar, 3 straight wins. Fiziev, right now, it is even. Oh, it's basically a pick'em. They're both minus 113. Richie Boy and Nico taking Fiziev. And guess what? Wally's got the balls. He's got the cojones to take Bahamondes against them because he's riding a 3-fight win streak. And Fiziev, yes, he's still great, but he's lost those 2 to Gaethje. His mystique, sort of invincibility, the aura has kind of been lifted. So until I see a win, I don't know if I can trust him. And Bahamondes, he beat Torres and he beat Turner. So maybe it's his time. But at the same time, Fiziev, hometown guy of Azerbaijan. So I am a little worried about that pick. But since I have such a big lead, I'm going with Bahamondes. And then we get to the main event. Jamal Hill, Khalil Rountree Jr., number 4 in the world, Hill, Rountree Jr., number 7 in the world. What a big fight this is. I love that Azerbaijan's getting such a great main event here. Of course, Hill coming off that loss to Jiri and Rountree coming off the heroic loss to Pereira, but he impressed a lot of people. He almost won with that loss because he knocked Pereira down. He took him deep into the fight before he got finished. Listen, Nico and Richie Boy are both aligned on every fight tonight, and they're both taking Hill. And Hill is the smart pick. He's the ex-champion. He's fought better competition. He's got the reach. He has better experience going deeper in 5-round fights. But I feel like same thing I was saying with Fiziev after the loss to Pereira and then the loss to Jiri. Does he still have the confidence? And his weakness is the guys with the big power, and that is Rountree. And I feel like with the loss to Pereira, it's actually propelled him even more. I think he had won 5 straight before Pereira, and then even though, yes, he lost, he's been pumped up. So I'm taking Rountree, baby. I'm going against Nico and Rich again. I like this. I feel like Khalil does it. It's a tough pick. He'll probably last. I say there's a stoppage in the 3rd or the 4th round. Mark Wally's words. That's a new one I'm going to be trademarking, Richie boy. Okay, so I'm very excited about this. Remember, it's the early start time next weekend, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Let's go. The picks are in. The picks are live. Okay, that's it for this week. If you love these shorter episodes, make sure to hit subscribe. And if you are a real MMA enthusiast, don't forget to check out the extended Excuse the Savvy podcast episodes that come out every 2 weeks. So with that, thank you for listening to The Wally Report, the world's hottest podcast. Please subscribe, follow, like, share, and blast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. We're blasting hard at the talk, and we're heavy on the gram at The Wally Report. That's at The Wally Report. We've been posting amazing video clips of our episodes on our social channels, so don't miss out. And please make sure to comment on Spotify, comment on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We love the comments and interactions with the fans. So with that, stay savvy, fight fans.
Welcome to The Wally Report.